Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am sharing some more Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs with you. So in today's video, you're going to see a lot of traditional Christmas characters as well as some vibrant fun colors, and I cannot wait to share these really simple but adorable DIYs with you. But before we get started, if you are new here, I would love for you to join us by subscribing down below. This first DIY is so quick and easy. All you need are some glass vases from Dollar Tree and your favorite window clings. So Dollar Tree does have a pretty good selection of window clings. They had some really fun vintage ones, some gnome ones. I went with these traditional Christmas ones because they were just so adorable looking, and all you have to do is just peel them off and stick them onto your vase. So you do not need any Mod Podge or anything for this. The window clings just stick perfectly, and when you're all done with them at the end of Christmas, you can just take them off and save them for next year. And now you can just add some dried floral, flowers, or flameless candles to your vases. And another trick is to take one of the glass candle holders from Dollar Tree and glue it to the bottom. This will just give you some height and kind of just elevates the look a little bit more. So E6000 glue works perfectly for this, and I think it just makes a really pretty vase after you take the window clings off, and you can always use them for flowers. I love this DIY. It's so quick and easy, but really sweet. Next, we are going to be creating a pillow from Dollar Tree. So all you need for this are 2 placemats from Dollar Tree. So I decided to go with these holly print because I just thought it was so beautiful. Those colors really stood out, and it's just so traditional and fun looking, but they did have a really nice variety, so you can go ahead and choose whichever one you like best. And I'm going to go ahead today and make a no-sew pillow. So you can of course just sew these with a sewing machine or by hand, but a no-sew pillow is just so quick and easy that I love it. And all I had to do was just take my hot glue gun and just run it down the sides. So I am using my Gorilla Hot Glue sticks today because it just gives such a strong hold. I will leave them linked down below. And all I had to do was just go ahead and glue those 4 sides, but I did leave a small opening on the bottom. That way I could just fill it with some Poly-Fil, and then once it was nice and stuffed, I just glued it closed. Hot glue does work so well on this fabric, so that is why I like to use it whenever I can. That way I don't have to bring out my whole sewing machine, but it does offer a really nice finished edge. So I'm just so in love with the way this one turned out. I think I'm going to have to go back to Dollar Tree and pick up a couple more of these placemats so I can make a few more pillows. This next DIY is one of my favorites. It is just so fun looking. So all you need from Dollar Tree is one of their plastic pie plates and one of their glass candle holders. So I've used these 2 objects before in other Dollar Tree DIYs, but never like this. And these 2 fit together perfectly. So I do love to use them together when I can. So I'm just going to get started by spray painting my entire plastic tray with this white matte spray paint. So here it is after it was all dry, and now I'm just going to be using some blue painter's tape to map out some stripes. So what I'm going for is a candy cane appearance. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my blue painter's tape and try to evenly space it out. And then I'm going to go ahead and spray paint those open areas with a red spray paint. I'm also going to be painting my glass candle holder with that same red spray paint. And my favorite one is this one from Rustoleum. This is the apple red color, and for me it is just the perfect Christmas red. So I will link that one down below for you guys as well. I just pick it up at Walmart or Amazon. So here is everything once it was painted, and now I'm just going to go ahead and remove that painter's tape. This is always so satisfying. I love removing that tape. And here are my candy cane stripes. How Christmassy is this one? It's just so fun looking. So now we just have to attach them, and to do that I'm going to use a combination of my E6000 glue as well as some hot glue. That way I have a permanent hold with the E6000 and that quick hold with the hot glue, and it's going to fit perfectly into that small center circle. Then you just want to give it some time to dry and you are done. You can of course use this to display some Christmas treats or just some of your Christmas figures, and I actually have a styling idea coming up next. So for this next DIY, I actually just wanted to share these with you, and then I do have a small DIY to go with it. So these wooden houses were new to me this year. I don't remember ever seeing these at Dollar Tree. They are so beautiful for just $1. So they come with the light already built in, and it has a flickering effect. You could paint them, which would be really fun, but I did not want to lose all of that beautiful laser etching, so I'm just going to leave these natural. I think they look really pretty natural just like this. So they had the larger one as well as the mini one, but I thought a fun DIY to go with them would be to make a little wood truck. So I just picked up this pack of wood truck ornaments, and I'm going to be using one of the tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. I use these in so many DIYs. Definitely pick them up if you find them. They are so handy. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue one in the center of my one truck, and then hot glue my other truck right on top of it. That way it can be self-standing. These trucks are even really fun to make on their own if you want to paint them or color them, but I wanted to set mine up as a little set here on my candy cane tray, and I also found these mini trees from Dollar Tree which I thought went in perfectly with the whole scene. Love that natural wood look of the last DIY so much that I was inspired for this next DIY. So I picked up these two wood houses from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to get started by just cutting that twine off the top. And I'm going to be using some more of those tumbling tower blocks. So I'm going to be using 4, and I'm going to be standing them up and hot gluing them on the back side of one of the houses. And then once I had all 4 of those glued in place, I just put some more hot glue on top, and then I'm going to be sandwiching my other house right on top. So the trick for this is you want to place it really quickly while the hot glue is still kind of wet. That way you can move it around and then stand it up. That way you know the house will be level. And the last thing I had to do was just cover up that hole in the top. So I found this candy cane ribbon at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to be cutting a piece off and making a bow out of it. Once I had my bow all done, I just used some hot glue just to secure it to the top of the house, and then I trimmed off the edges. You can definitely still do this DIY and also paint the house if you're not into the natural wood look. I think this would be so adorable if you painted it like a little gingerbread house. But the last step I wanted to do for this one was to add some lights. So of course you're not going to be able to see them through the front of the house, but you will see the light coming out the back, especially at nighttime. It does have a really pretty glow. So I just went ahead and used these Dollar Tree fairy lights that I found in their floral section and wrapped it around those wood blocks in the center, and then I just placed the battery pack right on top of some of those wood blocks. So at nighttime you will see this beautiful glow from the house. But I had the idea that if you wanted to have some really pretty lights coming through the front, you could just take a drill with a small drill bit and just make some little holes wherever there are lights on the house. That way, in addition to the beautiful glow from the back, you would also have some light coming through the front of the house. And here it is styled with those other wood houses and the wood truck, and I think that this just makes the most adorable little wood village. I found this sled sign at Dollar Tree, but I just wanted to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to get started by just carefully pulling all the pieces apart. Do be careful, there are some small staples in the back here that hold everything together, so just watch out for those. So I took the main piece off, and then I popped off that little top piece of the sled, and you'll be left with these 4 pieces. My initial idea was just to take off that paper picture because I wanted to add my own design to the front of it, but that ended up being a lot harder than I initially thought it would be. So this is the most I could really get off. At this point, I gave up on that idea and I decided just to work on the back of it, but I knew I would have to remove those staples. So I just took a pair of needle nose pliers and carefully took them out. They do come out very easily, but you just want to make sure to get all of them. That way, you know, they do not injure you or anything like that. So just be careful here, remove all those little metal pieces, and you will be ready to craft. Next, you just want to pick out your favorite wrapping paper. So this is the fun part because there are so many different prints that you can choose from. I went for this really traditional fun one because I just wanted to keep it with the whole fun theme of today's video. But I think some plaid wrapping paper would look beautiful on here, or any fun design. So now to attach it, you just want to take a glue stick and make sure you get a nice even coverage on your sled. So you could use Mod Podge for this, but I do find that you end up getting a lot of wrinkles, so a glue stick works really well. So I just went ahead, got a nice even coverage, and now I just want to attach my wrapping paper. So I just cut a small piece, that way it was easier to work with, and I'm just using my hands to smooth everything out, make sure there are no wrinkles in there, and then I gave it a little bit of time to dry. Then I just went in with my scissors and trimmed around those edges. Before the glue is completely set, you can take this time to work out any bubbles that there might be or any wrinkles. And I also covered that top portion of the sled as well. Now, this next step is completely optional, but I did want to seal mine with some Mod Podge. So this is just going to act as another layer of protection so the paper does not get ripped or damaged. But I will warn you, Mod Podge can make the paper wrinkle a little bit. So you want to work quickly here. You're going to put a little bit of Mod Podge down. I think a foam brush works really well, and just do one quick coat and then let it dry. Here is everything a few hours later, and it is ready to assemble. So I just have the runners of the sled here, and instead of having them be flat like they were before, I actually want to flip them on their side. That way the sled is a bit more three-dimensional. So I just used some hot glue for this, and I was actually really surprised how well the hot glue worked. But if you want to just add a little bit more stability, you can always run some additional hot glue on the side. That way it is super secure. You could also cover the underside of the sled or just paint it if you want it finished on both sides. So next I just glued that top part of the sled on, and then the last step was just to replace that twine with some ribbon. And I just went with this really pretty red ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And here is the finished result. I do love this DIY so much because it is so versatile. You can just really customize it depending on which wrapping paper you choose, and I think this would look so cute with a little plush animal on top. This next DIY would be a great one for kids. So I just picked up these two wood gingerbread men from Dollar Tree and some of the lightweight spackling from Dollar Tree. So I just removed that twine up top, and I want to go ahead and cover up that hole. So to do that, I'm just putting a little bit of that lightweight spackling into that hole and letting it dry completely. Then you can just take a sanding block and just make sure to sand it smooth. To create that cookie color, I'm going to be mixing these two paints here. I will leave them linked down below in the description box. So once I had my paint mixed, I just went ahead and painted the entire gingerbread man. And now I'm just going to be painting those raised portions by his hands and feet with that white paint as well as his bow tie. Then I just used the end of my paintbrush to make two eyes as well as a mouth. Then I let that dry completely. Now I'm just going to take some Mod Podge and just apply one layer to the bow tie as well as those stripes by his hands and feet. While that Mod Podge is still wet, I'm just going to take some faux snow from Dollar Tree and sprinkle it on. That way it will stick to it, and it just kind of acts like sprinkles kind of. It just really adds something special to the gingerbread man, in my opinion. It really makes him stand out. Then I just added two black circles for his eyes, and I was kind of missing that sparkly effect. So I decided to add some more Mod Podge to his mouth and his eyes and put more of that faux snow on top. Then to color in the buttons, I found that a red marker worked really well. This would be such a fun craft for kids to do. If you get each one a gingerbread man, they could decorate it exactly how they like. And you can just stop here, but I really wanted to make mine a 3D gingerbread man, so I'm going to be using more of those tumbling tower blocks and just gluing two of them onto one of the gingerbread men, and then adding some more hot glue and putting my second gingerbread man on top. I made sure to stand him up when I was adding the second one, that way I could make sure it was nice and even and would be able to stand up. But you can see here I had a little bit of warping, so I did end up adding 2 blocks to the feet. That way I knew it was super sturdy and would stand up with no assistance. So here he is with the sled, and I think they look so cute paired together. This next DIY is a great way to create a wood frame from Dollar Tree, and you can frame any picture you like. So I'm going to be using this gift bag that I found at Dollar Tree. I thought the print was just really pretty, and then I also picked up 4 of these wood pieces from the Crafter Square. So this is the 12-inch one. They had 10-inch and 12-inch, so I went ahead and got 4 of the 12-inch. And to frame my picture, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the top portion of that gift bag. And I also remove the top handle of the gift bag. Next, you just want to create a sturdy base for your picture. So you could use a piece of cardboard. I'm actually using a piece of foam board from Dollar Tree. This is just a scrap piece that I had laying around. So you want it to be a little bit bigger than the actual photo. That way you'll be able to glue the wood right to the board. So I'm just going to go ahead first and kind of measure everything, make sure it's going to sit right when I'm all done, and just do any final adjustments before I glue everything down. And I want to make sure to cover up those 2 holes on the top of the gift bag. So once I had everything measured out and it was looking right, I just went ahead and hot glued my picture to the board. Next, I just wanted to stain the wood that I was going to be using for the frame. So a really great hack if you don't love using stain but you like the look of stained wood is to use wax paint. So this is wax paint in a really deep color. And I do like to wear gloves because it can get a little messy, but all you have to do is just put a little bit on your wood and use a paper towel just to kind of buff it into the wood and then let it dry overnight, and it really gives the look of stained wood, but it doesn't have that really strong smell of stain, and it is so much more user-friendly. And here it is all dry, and now I'm just going to be hot gluing them to that board. I found it easiest just to hot glue my top one in place first, then just my 2 side pieces of wood, and then finally my 4th one on the bottom. That seemed to work best just so I could make sure everything was lined up properly. I am really loving these wood pieces from Dollar Tree. I feel like it is just such a good way to make a really substantial wood frame for $4, and you can of course just frame any picture you like. This last DIY is a really simple but cute one. So I found these little sacks at Dollar Tree. You get 2 for $1. They actually had another size as well where you get 3 for $1. They were a little bit smaller. So I'm just taking one of those sacks and removing those tags from the inside, and then I'm just going to stuff it full of some Poly-Fil. Next, I'm going to cut off that top portion where those ties are. Then I'm just going to fold those 2 edges inward. That way I have a finished edge. And I'm going to hot glue it closed to create a mini pillow. So you can of course just sew this one as well if you choose, but the hot glue is very quick and easy. And here is my little mini pillow. I think this would look so cute on a tiered tray or in a little basket. And those are all the DIYs I have for you guys today. I really hope you guys like this video. This was my largest Christmas DIY video ever, and I just love how all of these DIYs turned out. Please let me know down below in the comments which one was your favorite and if you'll be recreating any of these this year. Thank you guys so much for watching. To subscribe to my channel, you can just click on my picture right here, and be sure to check out this video for some more Christmas fun.